and welcome. Good morning, my lovelies. From Site B at 8:31 in the morning. It is I, the OGGM, on this foggy 19th day of April 2024. It is Friday, and on Friday we have no, direction, no rhyme or reason. We just sort of bounce about and see what there is to talk about that we might have missed. Because just a relaxing way to end the week, but just a hodgepodge. That's a word. A cornucopia of stories that just sort of are out there. Probably the number one story for coming out of this week gaming wise, and I have a feeling it's going to be neck and neck for a while as the number one story, is Games Workshop announcement of the female Adeptus Custodius, the obviously expected outpouring of negative responses to the announcement, and the obviously expected outpouring of negative responses to the negative responses of the announcement, with a lot of people going after the people who complained. This is going to become very complicated. I feel like I needed one of those boards with pictures and pieces of yarn. The complaints that the people are making about the people that are complaining, or of course, are incorrect. Why they're upset. A lot of the bigot, sexism, Gamergate flag has been raised in regards to this. And of course, if people had actually taken the time to listen to why they were upset, then they might not be as upset at the people who are upset. But if you brush away all the conspiracy and all the anger and actually look at the choice when Games Workshop made it, how they went about informing people, and why they made it, that is obviously the real reason why they're upset. Not only does it go against 30 years of lore that there are female Adeptus Custodius, the way they announced it was very lazy, very gaslighty, and very much, how could they not know that there was going to be nothing but negative? I mean, there are a few positive, but only from people who haven't actually invested the time and energy to follow the story to its fullest. So what's the big deal with female Adeptus Custodius? Well, other than the fact that the lore has made it very clear that there are female branches, like the Sisters of Silence and the Sisters of Battle, but because of the mumbo-jumbo technology involved with the Adeptus Custodius, females could not join that specific rank. But there were other specific ranks of the vast colonial military that females wore. In fact, there were entire female regiments, not only the Sisters of Battle and the Sisters of Silence, but there were entire female elf regiments. There were entire females. So females had their place. And if they wanted to be more inclusive to the female gamers, there were plenty of ways they could have chosen to do it. But the way they chose to do it is to simply say, there is female Adeptus Custodius. There has always been, for the past 30 years, female Adeptus Custodius. Since day one, there have been female Adeptus Custodius. I know we spent the last 30 years telling you there weren't. But no. There's always been female Adeptus Custodius. Adeptus Custodius. Say that 5 times fast. You just didn't notice. They're always there. You just didn't notice. But now they're here. And if you don't like it, screw you, we'll ban you. Anybody who's complained has been blocked and banned. They have offered no response. Basically, it was just, screw you. They've always been there, and it is now canon. What do you mean they've always been there? Oh, they've always been there. You just didn't notice. Yeah, I can see why they're upset. I see why they're going against 30 years of tradition, going against 30 years of history, going against people who have spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the hobby to basically tell them, yoink, nope, always been there, and now you've got to obey that. When there are just so many obvious better ways to promote female inclusion in the hobby. First and foremost, you already have multiple units of female characters. You could have just spent 2024 focusing on the Sisters of Battle, the Sisters of Silence, the female Blood Elves, the female Tau, all the other pre-existing all-female units. You could have introduced a new all-female unit. You could have said, yes, there's female Adeptus Custodius in another universe, and now they're bleeding into the main Warhammer universe. Or you could have said, well, for the past 30 years, there couldn't be a female Adeptus Custodius, but recent changes to the technology now show us that if a female wants to be, and if they survive, they can be an Adeptus Custodius, but there's like only 1% who will survive the obviously torturous, painful, mind and body altering process that it undergoes to make men into Adeptus Custodius. Lore. That's why there's no females. But they're just saying, oh, no, they've always been there. You just didn't notice them. So that's why people are upset about it. And I have a feeling that story's not going to go away. And of course, we have the other people who are upset at the people who are upset because they're saying we're bigots and we're racist and, you know, we don't want girls in our game and we don't want to let females play, blah, 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 blah. And of course, that has nothing to do with the reason why the fans are upset. That it's like, no, that's not why we're upset. So we got that story. My friend Ed has asked me to give a shout out to his latest project. As you know, Ed has been on my channel several times talking about the Error system and Error Old West, Era Kaiju, Era Superheroes, Era Fantasy. Well, now he's doing a podcast called Error Escapes. Audio dramas for $27 a month. Link down below if you want to take part in this interesting project and have listened to audio dramas, radio plays from my good friend Ed and the people over at Shades of Vengeance. Check this out. Link down below. Shout out to Ed for being always available to come on over to the channel despite the huge time difference between us here in California and him over there in the Londinium to talk about his products and his obvious excitement about his product and his very refreshing view of the tabletop role-playing game project creation media. So yeah, check out Ed. Another one that just came across today is Free League is doing a new game. I just had it up and now it's gone. Let me see if I can find it again. Hold on. There you go. Free League has got a new game coming out. This is a surprise. They have purchased the rights to Benjamin Tobbitt's Black Powder and Brimstone, which I think was a comic book graphic novel thingy. And they're releasing the game using it. It is a Black Powder and Brimstone, an alternate history from the Black Powder pirate age, and adding in, looks like, a little bit of mage tech and, of course, magic. So think Warforged, think, those kind of type of things. Strangely enough, it's using Mork Borg. Mork Borg is the system. It's a standalone RPG based on and compatible with the award-winning Mork Borg system. Guys, Mork Borg didn't win the awards because of the system. The actual system for character creation in Mork Borg was pretty much standard D20 retro clone, nothing we hadn't seen before. Standard low magic, roll to see your stuff that you start with that we've already seen in Maze Rats and Knave and Shadow Dark. So that the system wasn't why it was so unique and original or why it won so many awards. It was because of the way it was presented. And people were really like, wow, this is amazing. This is tabletop role-playing game of the year. Of course, we have since realized that no, maybe not. It does kind of seem more like a joke. Well, apparently Free League and Mr. Tobbitt have decided to, instead of using one of their pre-existing systems, the Dragonbane system or the Mutant Year Zero system, to create a new system specifically for this game, which sort of goes against the whole reason why they made the Dragonbane system open source, so anybody could make product for Dragonbane. They could have just said, using the award-winning Dragonbane system, here's Black Powder and Brimstone, an alternate take on fantasy. Don't know the price yet, but I'm going to assume since it's free league, it's going to be expensive. Yeah, it doesn't say. Mark Borg is such a weird choice when you already have systems, guys. I don't know. I'm not really excited about that one, but I'm sure there are people. I do like the artwork. The very Mike Mignola Deadly Dungeon style. My friend Aaron draws in this style. It's a very interesting style. I don't know what you would call it, but it's definitely different and cool. I like it. And finally, just the hodgepodge of news that we are stealing story from our friends at ENWorld. Thank you, Morris, as always, for doing our job for us. There is a brand new Star Trek Adventures coming out from Modiphius. This will be the second edition. Cleaned up rules, all sorts of new things. It should be coming out in August. Looks like they're shooting for Gen Con to have it out. Looks like it's going to cover all the timelines, but mainly focus on the original series timeline, maybe based upon the uniforms and that vaguely Mr. Spock, Dr. McCoy look. No, that's Dr. McCoy in the background. That looks like Ricardo Montalban. That's definitely Uhura. Don't know who this is. Not sure who this is. Not sure who this is. And that looks like Scotty. So yeah, that's coming out. I keep hearing good things about the 2D10 system, the 2D20 system. Steve Jackson Games, yes, they're still around, released their shareholders news this week, and it looks like they did okay. In this, what they referred to as the golden age / rebuilding year of Steve Jackson Games, that they are now trying to more focus on, priorities and more Munchkin and more Fantasy Trip, more stuff of that. But GURPS, did they just fucking give up on GURPS? I guess they realized that just constantly making new Munchkin things is a way for them to stay relevant. Merchandising, where the real money is. A Critical Role whiskey. Cast finished bourbon aged 4 years in a sherry and vermouth barrels with notes of baked apple, brown spice, shortbread cookie, and oak. How's it been aged 4 years if the company was only formed last year? Did you go back in time, or did you just buy up another company's whiskey? It's based on the booze that Grog drinks in the game / anime. Barbie is a company that's doing lots of other RPG themed drinks, bourbons, whiskey, stuff like that. This one tastes like Critical Role. Sandheg's Hide with yum baked apple, brown spice, shortbread cookie, and oak flavored whiskey. Because merchandising. Finally, the Pathfinder War of the Immortals meta event is live. This was announced last year. This is going to be their take on the Avatar trilogy. We think this is going to be how they're explaining any transitions and changes between Pathfinder 2nd Edition and Pathfinder 2nd Edition Revised. It introduces the brand new rare classes. It is a huge year-long thing that they're doing. New character options. Deaths of gods and stuff like that. Maybe it finally explains how the player characters destroy Glorian and create the Starfinder thing. If you want to play test it, they've got a thing up. They have, so yeah, except it looks like, they did the play test already. I guess this is a new play test, or if you just want to go and play test it at conventions for organized play, there's a link here where you can go to Pathfinder playtest at Paizo.com and find out all the latest in the playtest and see the new adventures and the new characters. And then, of course, a list of all the organized play in the area where you can fight for the honor of playing one of the rare character classes, which we tried to figure out in the previous thing, but as best it can be explained to us, the rare character classes are or something like that. I'm not sure. Somebody tried to explain it to me, but it still didn't make sense. Wizards of the Coast is hinting at what's coming up in the quest for the Infinite Staircase. The very first one they're going to be ruining is the Lost City. You notice that the Goodman Games Lost City stuff has been removed and is now out of print. And if you can find it online, it's like $400, $500. So they are redoing it, reintroducing all the stuff from the Lost City. Lost City is one of those ones that, you know, people kind of probably glanced over where it first came out, but now so many people are like, wow, the Lost City was so good. The Lost City was so good. The Lost City was so good. Well, we know that it is going to have its 5e makeover and quest for the Infinite Staircase, and that's going to be one of the ones showing up. But, you know, it'll be 5e version, so whatever was cool about it will probably be ruined. And hey, do you want a life-size baby goblin? What better way to end today's presentation than with this nightmare fuel? Oh, God. This is a life-size baby goblin pre-painted foam figure for $129, $130. It is 8 inches tall. Or is that 8 feet tall? It's got to be 8 inches tall. So a life-size baby goblin is only 8 inches tall. Babies are usually bigger than that, you know, but okay, I guess since goblins are smaller, the goblin babies are the size of kittens. It's made out of foam. It's hand painted, and I guess you could put it on your bookshelf or on your table, or just somewhere in your house to freak out people when they see it and sitting in the corner with this nightmare fuel eyes just looking at you. Yeah. That's just a great way to end my day. That's it for the hodgepodge of news. We'll be back later today with some more Vecna. Until then, drive careful because it looks like it's going to rain. Have a great day, and thanks for sticking with me. And I'll talk to you soon. Now get off my land.